Hello and welcome to the recording of our SLP survival event. I'm going to play you the recording here in just a moment. We have a lot of great tips to help you survive your school year, manage those end of the year behaviors, figure out how to get your progress notes and your data collection done super fast, all kinds of really great strategies. We had a great event last night, but I wanted to mention before I push play that we also have a $200 credit that we gave out to everyone last night for our lifetime access to our curriculum. I'm going to offer that to you guys as well for watching this video today. So you can access that by going to hub.speechandlanguagekids.com, and the code you're going to use is SURVIVE. So if you put in SURVIVE, you will be able to redeem your $200 credit, but it's only good through April 15th. So just wanted to let you know that before it goes away. And without further ado, here is our presentation of the SLP survival guide for the end of the school year. Okay, so if you are hoping to survive the rest of your school year and maybe, have a little extra time, maybe not feel so stressed out, maybe not completely crash and burn by the time you get to the last day of school, then you are in the right place. My goal today is to show you how to survive these last 2 months of school without burning out. However, if you are watching this and this is not the last 2 months of your school year, maybe because you are on the other side of the earth from us, or you are not working in a school setting, I think you are still going to love this because we have a lot of really great strategies all about how to streamline, how to simplify, and how to save you time. And I'm also going to be showing you a lot of really cool new tools and programs that we are implementing inside our SLK curriculum, which are making all of it so much easier. So I'm super excited to show you that today. But yes, the goal here is how do we focus in on those few skills that are really going to make the impact for this end of the school year. Also, make sure you stay till the end. We are going to have a drawing for one lucky participant to win a lifetime access plan to the SLK curriculum, which is a $985 value. Right now, there are 41 of you. So, 42, 43. But you have a really good chance if you stay till the end. So stay till the end and we will be doing that drawing for the lifetime access. That gets you access to everything inside our curriculum forever. So that would be really cool. All right. If I am new to you, hello, my name is Carrie Clark. I'm a speech language pathologist in Missouri. This is my little guy, my youngest. I have two boys, both of whom are a handful, but so much fun. And they are they are a lot, but one of them's on a 504, one of them's on an IEP. So in addition to being a speech language pathologist, I also have the perspective of the parent side because I get to be a part of both worlds. So I have, I've been on quite a journey. I'll tell you a little bit about my backstory here in a moment. But I've worked in private practice, in the schools, in early childhood, in elementary, dabbled a little bit in the junior high and high school, not as much as I know some of you that is your specialty and that is your focus. But I also really love digging through the research and finding out what the research says and then figuring out how we can apply that to really make the most of our time and help our clients and all of the above. So I want you to take a moment to close your eyes. We're going to do a little bit of visualization here. I've been reading a lot about psychology and digging into all of the psychology behind how do we not only help our clients, but help ourselves as well. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine that you walk into your therapy space and it's the end of the school year or getting close to the end of the school year. And all of your sessions are planned and prepped for the rest of the year. There's no guessing. All of your stuff is ready to go. The vibe in your therapy room is super chill. The clients are calm and you have strategies you can use if those behaviors start to amp up. And all of your end of the year paperwork is done ahead of schedule. And it was actually easy to complete this year. So I want you to imagine that because that is what we are going for today. And that is what we can do if we have the right systems. One of the things that I think is the biggest what we're missing the most for speech language pathologists, SLPAs, and really probably a lot of us as adults in general, is, we got the how do we teach speech and language skills. We got here's the theory behind how all of this works. But nobody, at least in my program, ever sat down and said, here's how to manage your time. Here's how to do IEPs. Here's how to juggle 700 different tasks that your school is going to expect of you. And here's how to do it when you carry a caseload of 80 kids, right? And so as we were dumped into these settings, mostly unprepared, we have acquired habits. And those habits may have come from others who came before us who said, oh, speech therapy is 30 minutes twice a week. That's just what you do. And so you said, I guess that's what I do. And you got those habits from them. Some of them were habits that you just kind of picked up through survival. Oh, okay, well, I've got to see 100 kids this week. So here's what I'm going to do to make it through. And some of it comes from social media and the kind of these outside pressures where we see all of these, oh, wow, well, all these cutesy activities and these, people are sharing their therapy spaces that look immaculate and mine looks like a dump, right? And so there's all of these habits and routines that we have just kind of fallen into without really sitting down and thinking through, okay, is this the most practical approach? Is this a strategy that's actually helping me? Is this the routine that makes me feel good about my job and about myself or not? And so what I want to do is help you to see that there are systems that you can put in place that are intentional routines that will actually simplify your job, streamline what you're doing, help your kids make faster progress, and help you feel fulfilled by your job. Because I want each and every one of you to love your job. And I feel like probably right now, if you are working in the schools, you're not 100% loving your job. And obviously no one's going to love it 100% every day. But I want you to love your work that you're doing because you are all doing amazing work. And I want you to feel the impact that you're having and help more kids and not be so overworked and overstressed. So that's what we're doing today. You've imagined it. Now let's figure out how we're going to get there. Okay, so I'm going to back up with you, go back on our Wayback Machine to my aha moment. So, oops, nope, didn't mean to hit that. This is Carrie Goes on a Quest. This is my side quest or my main quest, I guess. When I was an SLP back in the schools, I too was struggling. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I had a lot of good ideas, but there were so many requirements, so much pressure on my time, so many kids that needed to be seen. I had to drive all over town to see my kids because I was a traveling therapist, and it was hard. And I often got stuck into the teachers pay teachers hamster wheel, if you will, where I would go scouring for resources on teachers pay teachers because I would think, well, I don't know what to do with this kid. I need something. Maybe if I can just find the right material, it'll be easier. If I can just find the right material, it'll make sense. I'll be able to help this kid, right? And so I went on these, late nights scrolling through teachers pay teachers, spending way too much money, way too much time cutting and laminating and getting all these things. And then half the time they didn't even work well. And then where do you store it? And I just felt like there had to be a better way to help myself and help my clients. And I remember my aha moment came when I was sitting at the Missouri State Speech and Hearing Association convention. And I don't even remember who was presenting, but they were talking about a social skills group that they were running. And they talked about how they would look at the skill that they needed to work on, and they would just break that skill down into a step-by-step plan. And they would task analysis their way through that skill, teach the kids the skills a little bit at a time, and it would all come together. And that, for whatever reason, it wasn't even a mind-shattering strategy. I probably heard it in grad school, but I was in the right place at the right time for that strategy to really click for me. And I realized that was the piece I was missing. It was the step-by-step plan. How do we get the kid from point A to point B in a structured way, right? Not me just trying to string together a whole bunch of random materials, but in a systematic method. And I could see at that point that there was this bigger process that we could put in place where we could figure out not only a step-by-step plan for individual skills, but how do we step-by-step through different skills to get to our greater outcomes, right? And so this started me on a whole quest, you guys. I started blogging about what I was doing in my therapy room, and the blog was doing really well. And I was getting so many questions from people to the point that I didn't have time to answer all of the questions I was getting via email. And so I took the plunge. I quit my job at the schools and opened a private practice because I knew that would give me more time to work on this piece of digging through the research, figuring out what the research says, figuring out how to put that together in a step-by-step plan, and then sharing that with my community, getting that feedback, tweaking and modifying, right? And so been a lot of ups and downs, right? Being an entrepreneur always is. But every step of the way, I would get it simpler, and then I would give it to my community and I would try it. And then we would say, it's not simple enough. It's too much. I kept hearing over and over again, it's still so much. I'm drowning. I need it simpler. I need it streamlined even more. And so over the last, what has it been, 14 years, I have been refining and simplifying and streamlining. And just this last year, I feel like everything clicked for me. My own son was in a program called Brain Club, which I have come to find out was just the brainchild of an amazing SLP at our school, along with the amazing learning specialist. And they put together this program where if a kid qualified for social emotional challenges, they dropped them in this program that they were following a structured set of activities that they had designed themselves. And they were taking all of these kids on this journey to learn these executive functioning skills, these social emotional skills, and putting it all together in a way that really supported kids, but just made the therapy piece of it so much simpler for the SLP and the learning specialist because they didn't have Johnny working on R and Sarah working on WH questions and Alex working on retelling narratives. And they were all in the same group trying to do 3 different therapies at once, right? Does that sound familiar to anyone? And so that was my second aha moment where I thought, I see it. We can put these programs together in such a way that we can have a hierarchy of, okay, here's the paths that we can take children down, and we find the ones that are working for this child, the ones that match up with their particular needs, and then we put them on the program that we already have built, that we've already gone through and restructured and figured out the best pathway for teaching these skills based on research, based on experience, based on this amazing community of thousands of SLPs that I have that are able to take these resources, take these out to all these kids, try them out, and then come back and say, okay, here's what's working and here's what's not, which I absolutely love about our community. So that was a very long-winded, that's my aha moment. But that's where our system has come from. So now I have the SLK curriculum, which is over 100 different curriculums, but they are structured in such a way where you just have to make a series of decisions, right? You say, is it speech? Is it language? Is it social communication, fluency? You pick the main area. And then from there you say, okay, is it asking and answering questions? Is it grammar? Is it vocab? And then from there you pick your level. And so it's like a decision tree, right? But then you end up with a structured program that's perfect for what this child needs, but it's already built. So that is what we're going to be talking about today, is how do we use this system to simplify our end of the school year. All right, so then survival tip number 1. We've got 3 tips for you today. Survival tip number 1 is how we're going to handle these groups, because our groups are probably the biggest challenge that we have when it comes to running our therapy. So survival tip number 1 for the rest of your school year, you're going to put every group on a pre-made program. Okay, so this is, let's talk about some group therapy truths here. Okay, so I used to believe that individualized therapy meant that every client on my caseload needed to have a completely from scratch plan. And in my mind, from scratch plan was I'm going out and I'm finding individual activities and I'm stringing them together and everybody's doing something different. Okay. That means that our group therapy, my group therapy, was really just simultaneous individual therapy. Okay. So for example, at the school that I most recently was doing a stint at, I had 2 different groups in one day. All right. So my first group was 3 individuals. One was working on R, one was working on figurative language, and one was working on retelling narratives, okay? And I remember this particular day, I didn't have a great plan for therapy, so I just got a game out, and I just said, okay, before you take your turn, you're gonna work on your skill, right? And so I got to this one, and I said, okay, we're gonna say 5 R words, and we said our 5 R words. And then I said this one, I said, okay, I'm gonna tell you a figurative language, you tell me what it means. And then this one, I said, I'm gonna read you a short passage, and you're gonna answer questions about it. And so we went through, and yes, I did hit all of their goals, but it was individual therapy. It wasn't group therapy. We just happened to be doing it at the same time. It meant nobody was getting as much as they needed. So that was not the best use of anyone's time, right? I had a different group that same day. It was just 2, but they were both working on language. And so what I did for those 2 was I put them on the core language program, which is our 16-week oral language intervention that targets every language skill from 1 grade level in 16 30-minute lessons. And so for those 2, I was doing the same thing. I read the same story to both of them. And then I had them write down the setting and write down the characters. And we made a little story map and then retold the story. And then they were able to tell their own story using the same story map. And we changed the details. And that therapy session went so much better. The girls were making faster progress. Everybody was more engaged. And that is the kind of group therapy that really makes a difference for our students. The individual therapy simultaneously is just because we don't have we don't have the time to do everyone individually, right? But I really do believe that there are benefits from group therapy, and I think that being able to do it as everybody's working on the same thing is better. My clients start making faster progress when we're all working on the same program. So I want you to understand that the individualization of our therapy comes from using different strategies to support them during that program. As I'm asking these questions about the narrative, I'm asking in different ways. I'm giving them different prompts and cues depending on what it is that they're struggling with, right? So we can still have the same therapy plan, the same therapy program that we're using for everyone in the group, and we just tweak it here and there, okay? So, for example, this is that core language program, the one that I was just telling you about that I had those 2 girls on. And so each page is working on a different skill. Each skill gets its own lesson. So we have syntax and vocab, along with things like asking and answering questions, telling narratives, providing information, stating opinions. All of those get their own lesson. But then within each lesson, every week, we target following directions, retelling, and then telling, being able to provide our own information using that target skill. Okay. So if you put one of your groups on the core language program, if they have any language skills, those are covered. If they are working on speech skills, you can work on their speech sounds as they come up during these various activities. And hey, guess what? Now they're also getting a language boost, which they probably could use as well, right? If they have fluency goals, they could be working on their fluency strategies while reading or answering questions. So you can stick these kids that are in your groups that are struggling to stay engaged and you're struggling to plan and prep all these different activities. You can put them on one program for the rest of the year. It's 2 months. Let's just see how they do. Consider it an experiment if this is new to you to do it this way, and see how it works to be able to run them through one program. Okay, the other thing I want to show you, which I just put the finishing touches on today and I'm super excited about, is my virtual therapy table. So this is an AI-powered virtual therapy table that has all your therapy materials right here on the table in a virtual way so that you don't have to have all of these different cards and materials and games and activities on your table. If you are heading into a therapy session, you can simply click this Open My Table button inside our curriculum, and I have everything laid out to run a therapy session. So I'm going to show you this. Even if you don't decide to join our SLK curriculum, I want you to see this because the structure that I've set up for these therapy sessions is golden. I love this. Again, I've been doing a lot of reading into the research on psychology and learning and habits and how do we support learning. And so our virtual therapy table starts off with a grounding activity. So in this exercise, you're just going to play this chime. You can have the students click it or you can click it, and everyone's going to close their eyes, and they're going to keep their eyes closed and their voices silent for as long as they can hear the bell. Once the chiming stops, then they open their eyes and you look around and you wait until everyone else's eyes are open, and then you begin. It's a really simple way to tune them into what's going on around them, to get them to quiet and calm. And if you do this every session, at the beginning of every single session, then this chime is going to have a calming effect on them because they are tuned into the calming aspect of this grounding activity. All right, so I'm just going to play the sound for you real quick. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It was kind of quiet. But the sound lingers for a little while. And so if you're sitting there in your session and you play that chime, then you can have everybody listen to it. And it brings us down. And then we say, okay, time to work on our skills. Then at this point, we can go into our goal packet. So each client or each group is going to have their goal packet. We have all our goal packets are here. We have over 100, like I said. So there's that core language one, which kind of includes all of the language skills, but we also have one for each individual skill that you might need to teach, like asking and answering questions and vocabulary and syntax. All of those areas have specific curriculums already put in place. You just print out the goal packet. It's got a data probe, and then you're ready to do the therapy. Okay, so that's step 2, teach from the goal packet. Step 3 then is going to be to continue to practice with something fun. All right. But instead of going to Teachers Pay Teachers, scrolling around, buying things, cutting them, laminating, instead of giving yourself more work, you can use these simple activities that we have stuck on here that are AI powered and interactive. Okay, so the first one, we're going to have an activity of the day that I'm going to change every day. And this is not so that you have a whole bunch of extra worksheets that you file in your filing cabinet. These are not for filing. These are for printing for today. So this is actually tomorrow's because we're starting this tomorrow. So this is our April Showers Speech Challenge. There are 20 challenges over here. And look, here is a 20-sided dice roller that will tell you which challenge to do. Once you do a challenge, you fill in the raindrop. Each of these challenges are just practicing your skill in a different way. And so this gives you something to do, something to have in front of them, because you're going to print these out. Here's something to have in front of them while they're working that keeps it fun and keeps it enjoyable. Really appeals to our ADHD kids because they love a challenge and they love novelty. But you don't have to go prepping and planning a whole bunch of stuff. You just come into school and you print this out and you're ready for your sessions for the day. The other thing that's on here is our live prompt generator. So if you need a word list, a list of sentences, a short story, an image, a social scenario, any of these things, you can put in the skill that you're working on from their therapy packet, select the type of prompts that you need. You can enter a topic or a theme, something that they're interested in, which personalizes it to them. And then you can pick an age group and it will generate prompts for you right in the moment. So super fun. And then there's a super fun little secret when you end the session, you can let the kids click on this, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it does something super fun. And so they have a little reward that they can work for. So you have built-in motivation as well, right? So this structure, starting with a consistent sound that they hear that grounds them, that gets our focus. Then we teach something from the goal packet. Then we practice it with something fun that doesn't take up a lot of our time to plan and prep. And then we give them something to look forward to at the end. All right. This is how we build an engaging session with zero prep time for you. All you have to do is open this. It's already there, right? And you're pulling these things up during your session. You're not even doing that ahead of time. It pops up in the moment, and you can ask the client what they're interested in that moment and really capture their attention. So this is our new virtual therapy table. I absolutely love this. If you already have a login to the SLK curriculum, go check that out because it's already in there. I finished that up today, but I'm getting away from myself. Okay, so here's your action items for secret number 1. On your next planning time, whenever you have a moment, print out and photocopy a pre-made program like these that we have for every group. Just drop it in the folder for that group, and you've got that ready for the rest of the year. Our curriculums will last you beyond the rest of this year. You can run the same program for the rest of the year. So you could just take an hour maybe this week and get all of your group sessions planned for the rest of the year. Doesn't that sound nice? And then you can use our virtual therapy table to structure your sessions and create those extra practice materials in the moment and keep kids engaged. All right. This is the full list of curriculums in case you were wondering, but I'm not going to stick around here because we're going to go on to survival tip number 2, which is managing our behaviors. Okay, so we already kind of touched on this with the structure of the session that I just showed you, of being able to have the grounding exercise that is consistent at the beginning of every session, something that they're working towards at the end, something even simple as a cute little video that does a fun little thing. That is enough to get a lot of your kids to just get through those sessions, right? But let me just kind of back up and let you know, here's what's really going on here. These kids are breaking up with us. It's the end of the year, and they're either feeling anxious or unsure about what's going to happen at the end of the year. Maybe they don't know what summer's going to include. Maybe they're worried about next year, or maybe it's just transitions. Because let me tell you, all of these kids, including all of us probably, struggle with transitions. They're hard. A lot of these kids are just feeling anxious, but some of them, especially those who do not have secure attachments at home or maybe just in general, they're trying to push you away before they can feel like you abandoned them. And I know that you're not abandoning them, and you know that. But in their poor little brains that are not fully developed yet, it can feel like that, especially if they have some abandonment issues. So either way, it means that we're seeing a lot of big behaviors towards the end of the school year. So how do we lower the vibe? We're going to tell them what's coming. Talk about next year. Talk about summer. Talk about how long it'll be till you see them again. Or if you're not coming back, talk about who's going to be the next person there. Sometimes it feels like if we don't talk about it, maybe that we won't have to have the blow-ups, but talking about it is always better. And if you can even give them a visual, a calendar, a checkout, a countdown, something to help them visually, that can help them a lot as well. You can also create some sort of a celebration at the end of the year, something that they can look forward to, like a party or just even doing therapy outside for a day. And then just set some clear expectations and consequences for those escalated behaviors, but don't take away the party. That's got to be there as a relationship and a safety thing. So come up with other consequences for the escalated behaviors, but just have those really clear expectations, and then keep your sessions simple and consistent for the rest of the year. There's so much inconsistency right now. We've got testing going on. We've got end of the year parties and field trips. So as if they are in that session with you, it should be consistent. It should follow the same structure, the same schedule every time. And a really easy way to do that is to have your packet. Everybody knows you come in, you work on the packet, you go through the same structure every time. All right. So here's a few tips for making this happen. Screens are alerting and paper is calming. I just did a podcast episode not too long ago. So if you missed that one, go back through our podcast about how the children who learn things or who are doing educational activities on paper are actually boosting retention, learning them more easily. And so if we can print out materials and have them on paper instead of on a screen, that's going to be better than trying to get them to learn from screens. Plus, they're all kind of screened out, right? I know they love screens, but they're doing screens all day long. And now even our standardized testing is on screens. So giving them something on paper can help lower that vibe. The packets are easy. They can see what's coming. It's consistent every day. It's the same thing. And then while they work on the packet, you can just use some simple activities to keep them engaged. You can do crafts or fidgets or movement activities. You can do the activities on our therapy table, virtual therapy table, where you're doing the dice rolls and having them do those different activities. Just something simple to keep them engaged while they're working through their paper packet that's working on their skills. All right, so do this. Gather your most calming activities, craft supplies, fidgets, whatever it is. Decide on your end of the year celebration and start a countdown. Lower the lighting in your room. Find a nice chill playlist, or like focus music can be really good. And then you can join our live make and takes where we're making activities. Look for those featured activities inside the hub. All kinds of fun stuff that you can do in there as well. All right. We have one more survival tip, and then we are going to get to the giveaway. I know I said I was going to do 30 minutes, and look at me going over. Sorry, guys. But we'll get through this last one, and then I will show you. I will do the giveaway at the end, so stick around. We're giving away a lifetime subscription, lifetime access to the SLK curriculum, which is a $985 value, so stick around. All right, so survival tip number 3 is using shortcuts to complete your paperwork tasks. So let me tell you a secret. You are your own worst enemy. You are doing more than you need to because we all want to go above and beyond. We all want to help. We all want to do our best. And some of us are kind of perfectionist-y. And so we do more than we need to. So our goal to get through the rest of the school year is just to find the simplest way to get things done. I want you to think about what the bare minimum is that you need to do to meet the requirements. And then I want you to use technology or pre-existing tools and resources to simplify those end of the year tasks. All right, so the first one is data collection. Data collection is a big part of our job. And I know that data, or it didn't happen, but my philosophy on data is you take really great data once per month, and then every other session, you're taking the simplest form of data you can, which is usually a 1 through 5 rating, okay? And, I've gone into data collection all over the place, so I can find you resources on data collection if you need that. But for our end of the year data, what we need is just how are they doing on their goals, right? So you're going to have a data day. Get all of your data on your client's goals in one day or maybe 1 week if it takes you a couple sessions to get it. Just tell the kids, this is data day. Don't sugarcoat it. I know this isn't super fun, but we're going to get all our data today. Maybe bring them some candy and do it sooner rather than later. Get your data now so that you can get those progress notes written. Okay, so this is a monthly data probe. All of our goal packets have a data probe like this, where it tells you, here's the goal. So if you've got a goal that's similar to this, here's the prompts, right? So we're just going to ask questions, yes, no, and WH questions, and we're going to collect a percentage. And so you have this data. And then there's a data page on the next one that you can, or on the next page that you can use to record your data, or you can put it in your data notebook. But use these tools. These data probes are available for you guys inside the SLK curriculum. Super easy. Just get your data done quickly. Progress notes. Okay, so when you're putting in your data to make your progress notes, I actually built an AI-powered progress note writer last week as I was preparing for this presentation because I was going to tell you that you should use AI to write your progress notes. And then I thought, well, maybe I should just build that. So I did. And so we have an AI-powered progress note writer inside our SLK curriculum. All you have to do is put in the skill, what percentage or data you have, and whether or not they're making progress towards that goal. And you just put that in for each of the skills that you're working on, and it generates this. This is an example from it. So like skill 1 was producing the R sound in single words. It says, they've been working on this skill. Here's where they are. Here's what that skill is. So it gives a like parent-friendly language example. And then it says whether or not they're making expected progress towards the goal. And then it gives a home tip. So if you'd like to work on this, here's some strategies for how you can work on it at home. Now, again, it's AI, so it's not going to be perfect, but it's been really, really good. Like the suggestions that it's putting in there for the most part are really good. So if you put your data in this, it spits out a progress note. You just highlight it, copy and paste it into a Word document, and then edit it to be, more specific to what that child actually needs or what comments you wanted to make, but it gives you some place to start so you don't have to write these from scratch. Okay, so use technology. Technology is your friend. Summer homework. If you need to send home homework, do not reinvent the wheel. Choose one skill that you'd love for that client to work on over the summer, and then just print off the goal packet from our curriculum. Send it home. Or we have a whole section of these handouts that are home supports for different conditions. So if you feel like a whole packet is probably more than a parent wants, if you know that that parent isn't really going to be able to work through that with their client, you can do one of these handouts, home supports for social communication, and it just gives specific strategies that they can use. So just grab things that are already made. Don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, Your secret weapon for surviving this school year is investing in a done-for-you solution. I want you to think about how many hours have you already spent scouring Teachers Pay Teachers, downloading freebies? How much money are you already pouring into those platforms like TPT that are actually, and are those actually giving you the results that you want, or are they just giving you more work because you are having to laminate and cut and get all these materials ready, and then you have to find a place to store them, and then you have to find them when you want them again? And I want you to think about how many hours you're going to get back if you simply invest in a system like mine that has already done all of the work for you. And what would you do with that extra time? So our system includes the core language program, goal packets for every skill, plus those data probes. We're doing weekly make and takes, so you can hop in live and make a simple therapy activity. Last week, we wrote yoga poses on popsicle sticks, so you can use that as a movement activity. We have our AI-powered material generators, our virtual therapy table, our progress note writer, and all kinds of fun activities to keep the kids engaged, plus a whole community of you fabulous, amazing people. I see so many amazing faces on here that I recognize from inside our community. We're finding a better way to help these kids, and we're doing it together, and I love that. But we're also throwing in custom onboarding and setup help. So if you are new to us, or if you would like to upgrade to our lifetime access, we're adding in custom onboarding and setup. So we'll ask you a few questions about your caseload and your needs, and then we're going to create you a custom implementation plan. So I will send you links that will be exactly what you need, plus a step-by-step weekly suggestion of what you can work through to help you get set up. And we're giving away free exclusive SLK therapy bags. So those are getting thrown in as well. So these are your purchase options. Our lifetime access is $985. Like I said, that includes all of the resources, all the community stuff, the setup and onboarding help, and the free therapy bag. Or if you just need it for a limited time, we do have our monthly and our yearly plans. So that's $50 per month or $500 per year. Those don't come with a free therapy bag, though, or the setup and onboarding. But since each and every one of you are amazing, and I'm so grateful that you came here tonight or are watching the recording, each of you is going to get a $200 credit towards the lifetime plan access. So all you have to do to redeem that credit is use this code, SURVIVE, and you can, oops, didn't mean to do that. You can go to speechandlanguagekids.com/upgrade to access that upgrade page, and then enter that word SURVIVE, and that'll give you that $200 credit. You have to use those credits by April 15th, though. So keep that in mind. That is our deadline for using the $200 credit. All right, drawing for the giveaway. So now we're going to do a drawing. There are 80 of you. Stick around. Don't leave, because I'm going to figure out how to do a random number generator. And then I'm going to count. I kind of hope it's a low number so I don't have to count as far. Okay, so one of you is going to win the lifetime access right now for free. Random number. All right. It's 37, so I'm going to count down. You ready? $28, $29, $30, $31, $32, $33, $34, $35, $36, $37. All right. The winner is Elisa Baldonado. Elisa Baldonado. Congratulations. All right, Elisa, we are going to message you tomorrow with your link. I'm going to write your name down now. Or Alessa. Ooh, maybe I said it wrong. I just realized there's one E. Baldonado. All right, congratulations. Awesome. All right, so let's come back over here. I'm going to pull this slideshow back up. I love this. You guys are all giving her congratulations. I have the best community. You guys are amazing. All right, so now we're ready for questions. Here is the link. You can also use the QR code with your phone if you'd like to scan that to upgrade to that lifetime access and use your $200 credit. But I want to answer questions. So I have more time here. I can stick around as long as we need. I want to know if you have questions about the program, questions about surviving the end of the school year, or questions about tough kids. We're going to take that as well. So if you have a client that you'd like some advice on, just make sure that you're not giving me any identifying information, no names, no birth dates. My general rule that I follow is if the parent were in this call, which it's very possible that they could be, if they would know that you're talking about their kid, then it's too much identifying information. Okay. But I am happy to answer questions about, how do we handle this kind of thing in therapy? Specific to, end of the school year is awesome. But if you have other questions as well, for sure, we can take those. And then, of course, questions, if you have any questions about the program, about the $200 credit, any of that stuff, I'm happy to answer that as well. So pop all that into the chat and we will answer some questions. Is there a way to try the program for free to see if it works well for me? Yes. Okay. So our lifetime plan does not come with a free trial. That is you signing up for the whole thing. But if you want to do the monthly or the yearly, that comes with a 7-day free trial. So you can absolutely try it out free on the monthly or the yearly access. If you want to do that, just go to hub.speechandlanguagekids.com, hub.speechandlanguagekids.com. And then if you decide before April 15th that you do want to go for the lifetime access, then we will just cancel that trial and have you re-sign up with the lifetime access, and then we can make that work. So if you have any trouble with that, let me know. But yes, the monthly and yearly subscription does come with a free trial. Did that answer your question, Elizabeth? Thank you. Okay, good. All right. What other questions do you guys have? Whether it's about the program, tough kids, school year, survival, any of that stuff. I see lots of people typing, so I'm waiting. You mentioned end of the year party. What kind do you suggest? Okay, so my sons, they, my younger one was, they were actually considering dropping him off of his IEP this year. And his main concern with that, they ended up keeping him on for a little longer, but his main concern was whether or not he'd get to go to their end of the year party. And so what they do at his school is they have, I think they do 2 different parties, one for the K through second, and then one for third through fifth. And they just pick a time that works for all the teachers, and they all go to the gym for all the kids that are in any of the specialists. So the speech, the OT, the learning specialist, any of the specialists, they all come into the gym together. And honestly, I don't even know what they do. I think they just like blow up balloons and throw them around and just play music and dance. Like it's not even that big of a deal. There's probably candy involved, knowing my son, he loves candy. But yeah, it's just they all get together and they just go, yay, we did it. And that's it. So it could be that. It could just be, maybe you just have a dance party in your sessions on that last day or something like that. We usually have a s'mores party for any and all kids who have been in speech. Oh, I love that. S'mores are a great idea. Yeah, anything that's just kind of feels fun and out of the ordinary. I think the kids they like to be acknowledged. They like to be a part of it. And it makes it fun. I love that. All right. What other questions? Or does anyone else have any other end of the year party ideas that they use? I'd love to hear what other people do. I'm also a big fan of the paper chains where you make the chain with all the number of days till the party. You could do that as a speech activity while they're working through their packets. Pizza party or bubble day. Oh, bubbles is a good idea. Absolutely. Yeah, and if the weather's nice, you can do that outside. I definitely have had kids just ask to go outside. They're like, "Can we just do therapy outside?" Yeah, sure. We can do that. That's an easy one, right? Being outside is awesome. All right, I'm a little confused. Do you just run through the lessons in order and they touch on many areas, or do you pick and choose specific lessons? Awesome question. So we actually have, I think you guys can still see my screen. Yeah. So our core language program is designed to run through and it touches on many areas. So that's the one that's the language lessons. And so let's just pull one of those up. This is second grade. So for this one, you actually do just go page by page. So, okay, here's asking and answering questions. So we're talking about, who means person, and we're associating the words with the meaning. And then here's a more in-depth question or activity. Then here's a story for them to tell and answer questions. And so you do just kind of move through this one from start to finish. Now, our other curriculum, so that's the core language program, but our other curriculums are specific to one skill. So let's just pull up one of those. So let's go into a language one, maybe, if I can click. Let's go grammar syntax. And so each of these are broken into 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And they are not specifically tied to specific ages, but in general, the beginner is going to be our earlier learners, and then advanced is going to be more of our middle school, high school kinds of ages, or upper elementary. But so each of these packets, you're going to teach the skills in order, but you're going to stop on each one until they have it. So this one is compound sentences. And so we're going to work on this level of compound sentences, and we're going to work on this worksheet, and we're going to work on this. And then if they still don't have it, then we can go to the prompt generator and create some more examples for them to practice until they get it. And then we're going to move on to the next page, and then we're going to work on this one until they've got it, and we're going to keep practicing, and then we're going to move on. So what I like to do for this is I will work on that one page until they've got it really solid, and then I will tear that off and stick it in their backpack with maybe a sticky note on this that says, work on this at home, practice this for homework, so that we can get that carryover piece as well. And then we work on the next page until they've got that, then we tear it off and we send that home as homework. Did that answer your question, Jessica? So there's a little bit of both, a little bit of both happening. We have, oops, that one didn't work. I need to fix that link. So let's see, here's a articles, right? So we start in phrases. We're going to work at the phrase level until we're ready to move up to sentences. And then we're going to work on this article and sentences. And then we're going to make our own sentences. And then we're going to do short response. So we build it up. Yeah. Okay, good. Teresa says she also hosts a homework club party for every student who finishes a month of homework, 1 to 3 minutes daily activities handed out 1 time per month. For that one, we make a cloud slime and eat popsicles outside. I usually get about 66% of caseload participation. Teresa, that's amazing. I love that idea. Oh, okay. So what are you sending home for homework then? Is it just like simple, like a worksheet or something that you're sending home, or do you just have like a list of like, try these activities? I love that, Therese. That's a great idea. It's on a monthly calendar. Fantastic. I love that. Yeah, that's a great idea. One for language, one for speech. Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yay, Peg just upgraded. I'm so excited. Peg, I get to send you a therapy bag. I think you're the first one, well, unless somebody got to it before you tonight. But nobody had signed up since I added the therapy bag, so I'm excited. I have mine here. It's full of stuff. But here's my therapy bag. I love it so much. Yay. All right, Tammy says, love that idea, Therese. We'll have to message you to get more details. No, I love that. Therese, you should add it to the discussion board. Say, here's what I do, because I think a lot of people would love that. Very good. All right, what other questions do we have? Anything else we want to talk about tonight? I really love troubleshooting. So anything that you guys want to troubleshoot. Plus, We have 71 people on here who could also help us troubleshoot. Is there an IEP goal list where ideas of goals, modifying ones, are listed by area or age expectations to help with planning for the next year's IEPs, and what to help foundational support to set them up for success? I love that. Okay, so the way we have it set up right now, and I have been wondering if maybe we should try to create some sort of a like all-in-one goal bank where you can see all the goals that we cover. But right now, if you go to goal packets and then click on an area, so, generally speaking, you probably know which area that you want to work on. If you come to the area and then you scroll down, there's the goal, like the general goals right here. So for social awareness and interaction, we have respond to others by acknowledging greetings, responding to name and sharing and joint attention. We have engage in a short interaction with a peer, maintaining appropriate proximity. And we have demonstrate increased awareness of others, that others may be having differing thoughts, feelings, and perspectives, and use this awareness when navigating social situations. This tells you a little bit about what the goal is going to entail. And then once you open up one of those goal packets, the sample goal is on the second page right here. So this one is, by the end of the reporting period, given natural opportunities and player-structured interactions, client will respond to others by acknowledging greetings, turning when their name is called, demonstrating joint attention, and responding to a question at least blank times during a 10-minute interaction. So that's just a long way of saying they're going to respond or acknowledge others. And so you would just fill in how many times you thought that they could do that in 10 minutes. And you would be able to figure that out by doing the data probe. So here's the probe. You're going to do these different things, and you're just going to tally down here how many times they did it in 10 minutes. And that starts as your baseline. And then you just write the goal for how many times you think they're going to get to by the end of the reporting period. And so that's kind of like the flow right now. We also have some sample present level that you can copy and paste and put into your IEP. So that's helpful as well. But yeah, what do you guys think? Would it be helpful to have a list of all of our goals in one place, or does it make sense to go through the flow and then find the goal? We can use with autism students? Absolutely, yes. All of our curriculums are neurodiversity affirming. And we have a lot of programs that are really, really great for kids with autism. We also have one, where's this one? Specifically for Gestalt language processors, which a lot of our kids with autism are. So if you need some help with your GLPs, we have goal packets and goals for them as well. I do like goal list ideas for the days that I'm brain fried. Yeah, I completely understand that. I think that's definitely one that I want to add to my list of things to create for you guys is a goal list. Especially since when I went through and added all the data probes to all the goal packets, I did reword some of the goals so that they could be recorded in 10 minutes. Because I had a lot of goals that were, things that like the classroom teacher would rate, which is also nice to have information from the classroom teachers. But if you're just trying to collect data on a goal, it's hard to track down a teacher, right? So I rewrote all of the goals to be, okay, in 10 minutes of therapy time, the student will this. And so then you can collect that data in 10 minutes using the data probe. But we do also have checklists and data forms. And so if you're trying to figure out which areas a child needs, I did this with the rural school that I was helping out at this winter, where I didn't know the kids and I was being asked to write IEPs. And I was like, I don't know what these kids need at all. So we did these screening checklists. And so there's one overall screening checklist here. And so you narrow it down to speech, language, voice, fluency, social, or functional. And you do that by having the teachers and the parents check which boxes sound like that student. And so it's basically taking, okay, what are language skills? Let's write it in parent-friendly, teacher-friendly language, right? And so they just click which ones or check which ones the student's having trouble with. Then from there, you grab the screener for that area. So this is here, let's do language. So the language progress monitoring tool has an overall rating. So how well can they express themselves and how well can they understand? So this is expressive and receptive language. And again, it's written out. This is what it looks like when they're at this level. And so they're going to give it an overall rating This is really helpful for progress monitoring over time. And then this page helps you narrow it down to which specific area. And then that's going to help you figure out which curriculum to pick. And that's going to help you figure out what goals to write because the goals are in the curriculum, right? And so again, they just say, oh, yeah, they do have trouble answering basic WH questions like who, what, and where. Or, oh, they do struggle to answer questions about something they just heard, such as a story being told or information provided. So this was super helpful for me to figure out where they were actually struggling in the classroom because they look different in the therapy room than they do in the classroom. And then there's also this impact statement area over here. So they can say, oh, yeah, no, these language problems are causing trouble in this area. And then that goes straight into your present level of academic performance, right? And then there's some information about which curriculums are most appropriate for each of those areas. Tammy says, love those screening checklists and the progress monitoring tools. I use them frequently. Awesome. I'm glad. Especially helpful are ones that are in developmental hierarchy. Yeah, and I tried to make sure that I didn't put ages on these because I do want the teachers and the parents to just be thinking about what it looks like functionally and not comparing it to age. But we do also have developmental checklists. We've got a lot of stuff in here, guys. Let's see, where's our developmental checklist? I think it's down here in screeners. So this one is by age. So you can actually go through and see which skills they should have for their age, and then they can check not present, progressing, or mastered for each of those different skills. So we do that as well. And those go, let's see how high they go. I don't remember. Oh yeah, we've got like high school, middle school. So yeah, we've got by age as well. I work with preschoolers with disabilities, and while we send home a blank list of areas for parents to write concerns for all areas, PT, OT, class, etc., I never thought of sending checklists home specifically for families. So this is great to see as homeschool and therapy are all different versions of the student. Yeah, exactly. Because we don't always know what they're struggling with at home versus what they're struggling with at classroom. And then they come to us and they're struggling with different things entirely. And so if we can have these kinds of conversations and get the information from all the parties, it helps us to make better decisions. I not to like over inundate you guys with things. There's so much in here. But we really try to cover everything that you might possibly need. We do have a form in our fast track to dismissal. This explains the therapy process of like, here's speech language therapy in the middle, but there's all these things we can try before. And there's all these things that we do after they don't necessarily need us, but they still need to work on generalizing to the classroom, right? But then this is the one I wanted to show you. This is the therapy decision. Have everybody fill out this progress monitoring checklist. You circle which areas you considered, and then you look at their scores. And so you say, okay, when do we need direct services from the SLP? When are we looking at maybe some sort of a generalization phase because they've learned the skills in therapy, but now they need to work on it in the classroom? And when are we actually ready for that dismissal? And so you can kind of see like the overall ratings of scores of on these to kind of help guide that decision. And then you can decide as a team whether they're ready for one of these other services. Okay. Jessica says, can you pay for a month-by-month subscription that works towards the entire program? I'm 3 years away from retirement. Don't know if I can make that big of a commitment, but I'm very tired of my same old way of doing things. Oh, I feel you, Jessica. Yeah, right now, the way that the subscriptions work is those are just ongoing, cancel at any time, but they don't accumulate up to the full program. So if you want the full program, that $200 credit is what's bringing that down right now. But it would just be you're either doing the full program or you do a subscription. However, if you go a couple months into the subscription and you decide you want to just go ahead and upgrade to the lifetime, you can. We just won't have that $200 credit still available then. So just some things to consider. But yeah, it doesn't accumulate up to the full amount. All right. What other questions do we have? Or is there anything else you'd like to see? Any of the curriculums you want me to show you? You're welcome, Jessica. We also have courses in there if you need more in-depth information on anything. We've done a lot of courses over the years. We've got visual aids and supports that I've made. Got the progress note writer. If you need ideas for accommodations and modifications, we've got a generator for that. just a few things. This is the culmination of 14 years of figuring out the best way to do all of the things. All right. Do you offer courses in the hub for CEUs? Okay, so here's my blurb on CEUs. You ready for this? So we are not part of the ASHA CEU program. That is a program that companies have to pay into. We did it for a while and it cost us way too much money. And we only had a very small percentage of our users actually using it. And ASHA does not make it easy or kind on small businesses. So we are not part of that program. But if you finish one of our courses, you get a certificate that says that you did it. And you can use our certificates for your ASHA hours. ASHA doesn't actually require that you use their CEUs. You can use any sort of professional development for your ASHA hours, as long as it, is about our field and like meets a couple of requirements, but ours do. So ours do count for your ASHA hours. But you have to check with your state or if you're in a different country, because everybody kind of has different rules. So like, for example, in Missouri, a certain number of our hours have to be ASHA CEUs, meaning a company that pays into the ASHA program, but then a certain number don't have to be. So you just have to check with your state, but in terms of your ASHA hours, they absolutely will count for those. Can we access the make and takes on the SLPA curriculum? Yep, those are in events. Oh, I haven't scheduled this week's yet. I was working on that today and I didn't get through it yet, but I'll get that posted tomorrow. So when you go in here to events, you should see this week's make and take should be up tomorrow. And then we're doing make and takes on Fridays at 9. And then live podcast recordings on Mondays at noon. These are all central times. And then once a month, we're going to be doing our Speechy Awards. We did our first one last month, which was really fun. And we'll be giving away t-shirts and all kinds of fun stuff for engaging and participating and playing our games. Oh, speaking of games, did you guys see we're playing bingo, caseload bingo this month? If you haven't printed out your bingo card, you got to do it. Because it's all things that are going to happen in your therapy space. So you print this off and put it on your table. And then if you get one of these things happens, like you get hit, kicked, or bit, you get to mark this one off. And then when you get bingo, you take a picture and post it in the comments, and it enters you into a drawing for the therapy bag. So if you haven't got your bingo card yet, get your bingo card. It's going to be fun. Oh, man. I hope you guys are as excited about all this stuff as I am. I absolutely love doing this. I feel like I have the coolest job in the world, and I get to hang out with all of you guys and do fun things like this. So thank you all for coming tonight. If you guys have any other questions, if there's anything else I can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you're already inside the curriculum, you can use the discussion board or you can use the chat to chat with me directly. Or if you're not, you can email me at carrie@speechandlanguagekids.com. Don't forget that $200 lifetime access credit is going to expire on 15th. So make sure that you get it before then. But I will send out some reminders